Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to an all-new episode of My Friend, My Soulmate, my podcast. And guess what? It's time for a bonus episode. We're celebrating the anniversary of Real Housewives of Orange County because, as we told y'all, it's 19 years this month since the premiere. Vicki, what are you thinking? You don't look a day over 18.
I mean, 19 years. Some of the girls that came up to me this past weekend, I went to a country western bar in San Juan Capistrano, and all these 18, well, they shouldn't have been in there if they were 18. Let's say 21 and 22 and 23 years were coming up and crying and loving on me and saying, you inspired me to go to college or not have sex till I was married. I'm like, okay, what about that? And then this one comes up to me. She goes, I divorced the guy that you said, if they don't fill your love tank, you have to get divorced. I'm like, holy shit, there's a lot of responsibility. But when I started thinking about it, I said, you guys, this was 19 years ago, 20 years ago, I started filming. They said, we've just been watching reruns. I'm like, of course you are. Yeah. So when I think back about my life back then, huge difference. I mean, 2 decades. 2 decades, Christian, you're 30. So think about when you were 10.
I mean, it's crazy. I mean, also, I've been watching you, and I was a late bloomer. You know, I started Housewives late. I mean, it's been over a decade. So, I mean, it's absolutely crazy. And time flies by when you're having fun, but we have someone exciting here to talk with us today. Tell everybody who's joining us.
So this episode, I decided to reach out to Scott Dunlap. And those of you that don't know him, is the creator of the Housewife franchise. And you will see his name on every franchise, whether it's Potomac or Miami or Beverly Hills, Orange County, you'll see Scott Dunlap. So I'm so excited to have him on, and I can't wait for you to meet him, Christian.
I know, me too. So everybody enjoy our conversation with the brilliant mastermind, the man who created it all. And we wouldn't even be able to woohoo and whoop it up with Vicki if it weren't for Scott. So enjoy this conversation, everybody.
I'm unmuted.
Yay!
Hey!
Jesus. Okay, show's over.
You know, Vicki, this is your fault. The show, everything, everyone that's on this entity right now. I really have everybody relax. Sorry.
Blame me for everything.
Yeah. No apologies needed. So.
All right. So hit me.
All right.
Okay, I have a question. You said this was going to be good for my business and I would maybe have to retire one day. I'm still selling insurance, by the way, Scott Dunlap, and there's other bitches that are still filming.
Vicki, this is to be fun. I'll remember, you just prompted something that came to mind when you called me when there was coverage at your home on your new website. Maybe it was at the end of season 1 or beginning of season 2, but it doesn't matter. And the point was, you called me and said, no, it crashed. It completely crashed because
we had so much activity
of the show. Now, what I want to do is I want to go back and give a little context for your viewers as to how you were cast, why you were cast, and what it means to the franchise, all the shows. Anyway, so
back in time. Go back in time.
We're going way back in time. And it really, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, Vicki, but Michael had sent an email when we had a little ad in the Kodo paper after we had shot some things and we were doing additional interviews. Michael said, oh, yeah, you have to have my family. And so
you're right.
So I recall coming to your house and you said to me, why would I do this?
I'm not getting paid. Why would I do this?
Not about money right now, Vicki. It's
no,
about,
I said what? This is another job on my list, and I wasn't going to get paid.
I know. Well, no, but I'm going to give you the context from my perspective, and you can tell me if I'm wrong. My point was, Vicki, to me, was and is the OG of the OC for a reason. But the reason is, if you look at the show and the franchise, you get lightning in a bottle, and it's still in the bottle, which is mind-blowing to many people. But without Vicki, I don't know that lightning would still be there.
You're gonna make me cry.
It's right, though. He's right.
Because Because what I found in Vicki, just me, and doesn't mean that it's about me. It was just because I was casting people in the neighborhood, and I didn't know Vicki. Vicki, I didn't really know you at that time.
We
No,
didn't.
no, I knew Gina, of course, and all
Mhm.
that stuff. But when I met Vicki, I said, "Man, this individual is so unfiltered, is so comfortable in her skin, which is work, drive, no sleep, work. Why am I going to do a television show?" And that became an issue for a period of time.
And what did Don say to you? Why would we do
Well,
this?
I remember sitting in the living room with you and Don. Don said, "Why in the hell would we do
Mhm.
this? I just want to have a beer and wash the car."
He does. That's not every Saturday and
We
Sunday was
we
washing
got
cars.
that. We got that. Don was great,
I love
and
that.
no, it was those early. I think this. I think for me, at least, who knew it was a social experiment show in the summer in Coto de Caza. At that time was the largest gated community in America. And so the vision that I had was with Vicki that she was an interesting anchor for so much story because she was so driven and completely unfiltered. And, this was back in the day. Then I'll stop talking. I'm getting a little prolix here.
No, I love your viewpoint on all this because I don't forget any part of the experience and experiment that you provided to me because I was
Yeah,
cooking dinner. I don't know if you remember, I was cooking dinner. I was working. I had my headset on. I was doing all
I
this.
know. And Lori was there and
Yeah.
everything. You were constantly
Trying to
frenetic.
train her how to sell insurance.
No, 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 no. But everything that you did was extremely relatable, I thought, for the show. And you were kind of like the catalyst, and I think about, lightning in the bottle. There's a lot of voltage. You had a lot of voltage. And that's a good thing. It's a good
I
thing to have
still do.
voltage. But I also remember this, that it was like 3 weeks into the first season, the first cycle of the show. And I came over to your house, and I remember you saying, "I don't think I want to do this." Do you remember that?
Yeah, Amy Elkins, and I think you sent Amy over. Remember Amy Elkins?
I remember Amy very well.
She saved me from still doing it because she was
Well,
like, "You
you,
you got to keep doing this." I'm like, "I don't want to
you
do it."
had to. No, and we spoke, and I think maybe it was at that time when I came over to meet with you and Don in your
Mhm.
living room, and we had a calm conversation because the first season of any show, I think, for any producer or any entity, is the heavy lifting occurs in the first cycle. And we didn't know where this would go. You didn't know, and I understood your trepidation, but damn, we couldn't do this without you. So I'm glad you hung out.
Well, thanks.
Glad
So
to
am
say.
I.
Aren't you?
I'm very
So
glad.
I was experienced. You've spent a lot of time with Vicki. So what does she state to you about her first moments?
Well, it all appears to be a wonderful. It's a jumble of chaos for her, but really, really good chaos. I think that's what I always tell people too, is that I really think Vicki was just so authentically herself all these years and really just truly living her life in the moment, that while there were chaotic things happening on camera, it wasn't necessarily like huge and monumental for Vicki in that moment because she's just living her day by day life, and the chaos just naturally follows her. It's like if a little family van
Still
rolled
does.
up, it's like, okay, that ruined my day, but onward we go. You know what I'm saying? And I,
No, absolutely. It's well stated. It's well stated. And a lot of individuals that are in, factual or reality television, um, you're under a microscope, as everybody knows, and you're loved, you're hated, you're judged. Um, and Vicki, do you remember? Here's another little
You're gonna make me
element.
cry or laugh.
No, I'm going to make. I think you should laugh at this. Hopefully, do you remember we met at the Koto Club house, and there was a a journalist that was doing a story on the show, and it was kind of a hit piece. And she had a lot of specific things to say. And when it went to print, and it was in like all the back then
Everywhere.
when there were newspapers,
Mhm.
it was out. And you called me and said, "You get over to my house right now. We're going to go and get rid of all of those articles
In
right now."
pavilions, in
Do this.
7-Eleven, we're going on a
That's
scavenger hunt.
Vicki. That's Vicki telling me I've got to go and get rid of every story.
Stop what you're doing right
that
now.
right now. But Vicki, now when you look back and you go back 20 years, this was 20 years ago we were shooting.
No, you're gonna make me cry.
I hope, well, please, if you cry, you'll get another television show.
Oh, I can do that right now. Look at this split. No,
Now,
but we're celebrating 19 years on air. 20 years ago, you and I had our entourage.
19 years this
crazy.
month that you guys premiered, which means it's 20 years ago you were probably shooting it then, right?
We were.
it was funny. I just looked at when you signed your agreement, and it was the springtime that we were, interviewing and doing all that stuff. And it's 20 years. So you should feel good about all that
It's been a
went
great
down.
ride. It's been a great ride.
Now, so Vicki, so here's my question to you. What was the most monumental moment in the first season for you?
Ooh. Well, Michael went off to college. Brianna was in high school. And I think that empty nest syndrome was starting to hit me, and trying to train Lori, so she didn't have to go to the Playboy Club all the time. Remember, she was going there a lot to find her next husband. I'm like, I don't know if that's going to be work, but let's just try it. I never went, but
Oh, you didn't? Yeah, sure.
I didn't have the body
Didn't?
for it. Lori looks great in a bikini and all
Ah,
that. But I think monumental was just, like you say, the newspaper. We were remember Richard Chang from
oh, yes. No,
the
absolutely.
Register? He was a
Front page.
front page center. And I called my mom and go, Mom, you're not going to believe this, but our local newspaper has a picture of me. She goes, what in the world are you doing now? What? Just go to work. Like, what are you doing? I go, well, I told you I'm filming that reality show. She goes, you are not good for TV. You might say something that you shouldn't say, and just stop it.
No, but your mother wasn't right, because, and I loved your mother. I did. She was a special person. But I think that the point was that you fought through that, because there was a lot of, when you try to break a show in the first season, you have a lot of exposition, meaning a lot of things we have to discuss and explain to the viewer about you, because nobody knew who you were.
You were on my speed dial. I might have called you 400 times a day. Scott, when you talk.
But, that's when we all had a lot more energy too. And I think the thing is, now when you look back to season 1 and you think about everything that you went through and how entertaining you were, even if you felt as though you were not, the viewers found you to be extremely reachable, relatable. I know that many people would have comments, but look at you. You're still hanging.
I'm hanging, baby. Wow, that brings back so much. Like, Andy was just getting started in Bravo, and going to New York for the first time. I'd never been to New York before that. And
Oh, wow.
remember when the People magazine appeared at my house on Shire, and the big NBC trucks were in front with the big towers? I'm like, oh my God, we're gonna go live on TV. Mom, watch it now. She goes, now what the hell are you doing? I'm like, just watch Good Morning America or whatever it was.
I remember the entire cast when we were there.
Behind the couch because we were all nervous.
Oh,
it was like 5 a.m.
That's so cute.
Yeah, now there perhaps you may have had a libation or two, you girls, because you were very nervous. And I'm hearing in the cans the director from the Today Show, and that was a whole other reality show in and of itself. What they're talking about, what are we doing here? It was fascinating. I think the fourth wall that was broken there, in a way. I mean, I was always interested in breaking the fourth wall, but but the network is brilliant. Bravo is brilliant at what they do, of course. We got lucky because they allowed us to continue on. And I know that there was a lot of stress in that first season, definitely.
Yeah.
But
Well, Scott, let's go back in time. Other than Gina, you put me with 4 other women that don't work. So I had nothing in common with them. They played tennis, they go play golf, they're bouncing balls all day long. I'm like, what do you do?
Yeah, Scott, I would love to know,
because
was there like a puzzle you had in mind that you wanted to put together with the cast, or were you just kind of going with it and taking inspiration as you went, you know?
well, that's a good question. I think just for me, and this is about Vicki, but
It's about
I
you
had
too. I wouldn't be me without you. We're together as a family.
no. If I didn't have you, we wouldn't be doing this 20 years later.
I know.
And without me, you wouldn't be doing it 20 years later. But it's about both of us.
Right.
But it's really this. In answer to your question, that I had this idea for many years prior. I had done improv at the Groundlings Theater, and I felt like in life, here I was trying to come up with a new business idea, and I thought, hey, what if I took what I learned at the Groundlings, just about improvisation, and you take regular people, put them in some type of a
Dining room table,
structure of a format,
yeah.
and would it work? It happened to work.
Wow.
So, but like, I'll go back. You have nothing. You have nothing without the cast. And we were fortunate to have, everyone. You were the workforce. You were the diesel engine of establishing that. Because I'll tell you one other thing. So, and Vicki, you will remember this. I don't know if you guys will, but there was a lot of controversy in Coda de Casa when we did the show. People thought we were losing our minds and that we were going to
movie trucks were going to pull up. Yeah, that was crazy. All the neighbors were upset.
Oh, wow.
The picketing.
No, there was a lot of press. There was a picture of me at the gate saying "barbarian" at the gate, and all this nonsense. It was just nonsense. To me, it was like, okay, we have something here. So how do you manifest that to tell the story amongst this interesting collaboration of females that live here? And I looked at it from the standpoint of, it seemed to me, Vicki, with my wife, and I'd see all these crazy tennis things go down, all the drama, and the men would leave the ranch and the women were left to run wild. Right. You were different. You were a unique anomaly because you were working all the time. And
still is.
20 years later.
So Vicki, here's the thing. If you go back and think, when we would shoot at restaurants back then, this wasn't really happening a lot. And it was kind of like at Rose Cantina or at Hannah's. And your presence and the presence of the show built a lot of those businesses that a lot of people don't even understand. No. It's amazing. It's amazing.
It's amazing.
It's really amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So true. Scott, I would love I want to hear about your start in TV. Like, have you always had an interest in television? Just like hearing your connection between, Groundlings and improv and how you kind of developed the idea for reality show off that is fascinating to me personally. And so I just would love to know, what is your TV history before you hit the jackpot, really, with as far as concepts go,
I'll give you the Cliff's notes because, I can have a tendency to be prolix, too long, speak too long. Okay, so I moved. I had a regular day job. I was in sales, and I moved from New York to Los Angeles, and I worked for a Japanese lens company, the division of Fujifilm. But anyway, I ran into. I would run, and I ran into this guy. I kept passing him. And one day we stopped and chatted. And I go, what do you do? What's your deal? And he goes, I'm a writer. And I go, oh. He's happened to be W.C. Field's grandson. And he goes, what about you? I said, well, I'm interested in improvisational comedy. He goes, and he introduced me to the Groundlings Theater. Now, when I went there, I realized I don't have a hope in hell to get on stage because these people were so brilliant. But I was a drummer.
Oh, nice.
I went down and I met, that's how I kind of got in. I mean, I could go back, but my point was, I went down to compliment the pianist who was doing improv songs. It's like, because Groundlings is a feeder to SNL. Anyway, and I asked him, I said, hey, really appreciated your musicianship. He goes, yeah. And he was kind of an LA hipster. Yeah, why? It's kind of throwing me off. I go, well, do you ever gig with anybody else? And he said, yeah. He goes, why? I said, no, I'm a drummer. He goes, you want to audition? I auditioned, and I did that for about 2.5 years until I wanted to get on stage. Then I got on stage, and I had a scene partner. It was a girl that was related to her husband now, Nick Castle, who's a film director. And I got on a basketball team with a bunch of writers, Harry Shearer and all this stuff. Anyway, my point was, I did that. I acted in a few films, small bit parts, was a location manager on a film. And so I got the bug, and I lived in LA for 8 years. And then I got married and started to move south because I knew Vicki would be moving there. I just felt
from Chicago.
Vicki's coming. I've got to.
You could hear a woohoo in the distance calling you. Yes.
Anyway, so I won't get into all that stuff, but that's how I kind of got the bug. And then I had an ad agency, and I bought a lot of media. And then I was looking at what was happening at Bravo when they were re-engineering their brand.
You weren't even Bravo then. They weren't even. There was no Bravo.
No, but Bravo was at re-engineering their brand to go to a pop culture from an art network to a pop culture.
You're right for the Straight Guy, and I think Project Runway. There was 2 shows on Bravo. Yes. I didn't even hear about it. Know about it. Nobody knew about it.
Because of you, Vicki, and the cast, and everything that's gone on with Bravo, Bravo has been able to establish themselves as the preeminent.
The mothership.
Crazy.
The mothership for everything. And Vicki, you should be proud because without that lightning in the bottle, that first season and the seasons that came after, everything that it started had to have a cast. And I think that we all learned over the course of time how to produce a very complicated show.
Yeah. This reminds me of something, and I don't think it's as authentic as it used to be when I was on, because I remember sitting down with you and Kathleen French and the people over there at Evolution saying, so what do you got going on this year? I'm like, I go to work, I cook for my family, I'm having an issue with Dawn. Like, I don't know what's going to happen. And I think nowadays, you may or may not agree, things are a little different, that they're thinking, okay, what am I going to film my reality to be? I didn't have to worry about that. My reality was just chaos all the time. So it might have been great to watch. It might have been boring to watch, but things were different 20 years ago. We didn't have to think about what we were going to film because we were just filming our shit, And
no, that's a very good point. I think in that goes to the essence of improvisation. I remember we were in a production meeting with cast. I don't know which season it was. I can't remember. But you all came in, and Doug Ross had said, well, what are your notes, Scott? And I said, well, I just think everybody should look at this as one long improvisation. Life, like right now, this is an improvisation.
Yep.
We are speaking. You're going to show up with a point of view. I may agree or disagree with you, but I think that if everybody would relax, I know what you're saying, things can be performative, but it's still a very entertaining franchise. Has to be.
Yeah,
has to be.
What do you think?
I think things have certainly, I don't know, because the landscape of TV has changed completely as well. Like you're talking about breaking the fourth wall before, things like that. I feel like there was a period on Bravo where like things like that didn't happen, to the point that when they started trickling it in, it's it becomes like huge conversation starters online that they broke the fourth wall, and now to me, I find that to be one of the most refreshing elements of TV, and to make it feel like we're not as part of a production, that it is real life being captured.
You're right. And it's interesting you bring that up. Do you know, and Vicki, you may not even know this, when the first episode aired in 2006, March of 2006, was the same date that Twitter launched and the first tweet went
Wow.
out.
I didn't know that.
Now, it's not just about housewives, but social media has been the gasoline on the fire
Yes.
to promote shows like this, to allow community of viewers to weigh in and escalate things.
It's so true. I mean, to me, even as a viewer, part of the experience that is the most fun is the live engagement with other viewers online, because it's hilarious. And and quite honestly, it's like any other aspect of life where you're introduced to other viewpoints. Like, oh my God, I didn't think maybe that is why she said that, or maybe that is why they felt that way, so it's like a real time update to not only, kind of expand what your opinions are on what you're watching, but connect with others as well.
Okay, that was so much fun.
That was such a fun episode.
Everyone enjoyed it.
Yes, be sure to rate, review, and subscribe, and we'll be back again next week, right?
Just like corn. We'll see you next week.
See you soon.
I knew it. Another Herdat Media production.